Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name is Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com, and my guest today is Steve Prentice, and Steve is from Canada, and today we will be talking about people, technology and productivity. And Steve Prentice works in the space where people and technology collide. With degrees in organisational psychology and media technology, he focuses on the way humans work with or in spite of technological advances. And this helps companies become more pragmatic in their usage. So he has a number of clients and he teaches at Ontario Tech University in Toronto. He also ghostwrites books for other experts who are looking to shape and broadcast their knowledge. Welcome, Steve. And tell me a little bit more about people, technology, and productivity and how it can help small business.
Well, I think the main thing to look at is that we tend to get overwhelmed by a lot of what is made available to us. I got into this business 25 years ago when I was doing some tech support. I was just working for just a small media company, and for some reason I got asked a question about the coffee cup holder on somebody's computer, and I was saying, what coffee cup holder? And they said, the one you press the button, the little shelf comes out on my computer to hold my coffee cup. And I realized at that point there was this amazing disconnect between the engineers who create the technology and then the end users who are expected to use it. It all makes perfect logical sense if you are a perfect logical engineer, but for most people, it's like, well, why do I have to do this? Where is the any key? What is the thing I got to use to make this happen? And it's like this to this day. Right now with what I call cyber hygiene, learning how to maintain your passwords, it's a hassle for people to have to change their passwords every 2 weeks. Why should I have to do that? So my little niche is really explaining to people how these things work. What makes your life easier by doing these things. And most of the technologies we have, it isn't the technology that makes us productive. It's our ability to relate human to human. And that's the other side of this, is we can have email, we can have collaborative channels like Slack and Microsoft Teams. We are now all learning how to work from home, work remotely or disconnectedly. But the point is there's still somebody waiting for the assignment. They're waiting for something from you. So the problems become, how can I learn how to handle the pressures and the priorities of my work that the technology is supposed to make better, but is actually piling more on? And the bottom line is, it's about human relationships and managing expectations. And that's really what I teach the most of.
Yeah, I know I was a PC baby. So when PCs first came out in the 80s, and Microsoft wasn't quite invented yet. Um, and I can't remember the program we used, but my goodness, it was just so difficult to learn. And then Microsoft came out and we all thought, oh my God, this is just like heaven. It was just so brilliant. But then computers started to have floppy disk drives. How do you use those? And then we had um, CD drives. And then, as you say, that's the coffee cup holder. And, what's that for? And, how do you use it? And trying to buy the discs for it and make sure that you buy the right discs for the right purpose. And then DVDs came out, and could you use the DVDs for other than um, um, media, like just not just audio, but could you use it for other things? Could you just use it and download a document on it? And it was all very confusing, as we've progressed. And you're quite right, there are so many new programs and apps and things coming out that are becoming more and more helpful. But to try and learn them, who's got the time to learn how to use LastPass and all those other, really great. And I love LastPass, and please, just don't get me wrong, but who's got the time to learn how to use them? It's just it takes time out of your business. It really does.
It does, and people who are running a business, a small business especially, you have so much else to focus on. But one of the things that I stick to, very very strongly when I'm teaching people, especially small business owners and those who are even working in departments, with a manager and so on in an office or a virtual office now, I always stick to the 80-20 rule, which is, the 80-20 rule is used in a lot of different areas to illustrate a lot of something and a small amount of something else. But when it comes to managing time and productivity, I can tell you that you can get more done in 80% of your time than you can in 100% of your time if that other 20% is spent managing and proactively managing everything you need to do. That's the difference between always being on a sort of a hamster wheel, trying to keep up with everything, and proactively planning and structuring a day and proactively sending out messages and managing expectations of people as to when they can expect satisfaction from you rather than simply sticking to a reactive mindset. Every single time a new email comes in, I've got to deal with this, and everything else gets pushed aside. That's the problem, and there's some real biological sources to that too. For example, if I may, the the whole notion of email. I mean, email is still going to be around for a while, even though we have other technologies. But a few people stop to recognize that when you're looking at an email, you're reading through a light source on your computer, and your eyes and your brain were not designed to take in information like that. We are used to reading things off paper, and your vision system is based on receiving reflected light rays off paper as opposed to staring into a screen. Now, that might sound like a very arbitrary or scientific fact, but the point is, because your brain does not know truly how to process information from a light source, being your screen on your computer or your phone, it routes it through a different part of the brain, which means it is treated as an urgency. And so it becomes very hard to not stop and read email and then respond to email, even though it is not the most important thing in your day. So this is about prioritizing, which is time management 101, but doing it from a physiological standpoint, which is to say, why do I get compelled to have to respond to my texts and emails? Why? And it's because your brain doesn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'd want to be able to say that if you were a customer of mine and you're willing to pay my fee for the work that I do, there should be some degree of understanding that, maybe I can't pick up the phone within the second ring or respond to your email within 30 seconds. You're looking to great service from me. And that might mean that I need to prioritize my work, and I will certainly respond to you within a reasonable amount of time, whether that
Mm.
be 2 hours or 3 hours or end of day. And for most people, like super urgent emergencies accepted, aside from that, most people are going to say, okay, I know that Steve knows that I'm here, I'm being taken care of, I love this degree of customer service. So my point here is that we don't have to keep on responding and reacting to every single thing that comes in, but it is a biologically hardwired fact. That's why we do it. So if I can spend some of that 20% of my day and of my week networking and connecting with my customers and saying, hey, here's how I work. I usually respond to my emails in the afternoons or something like that, a pattern. You now have a frame of reference you can use as an expectation. And if I can, I hope I'm not sort of rolling too
No,
much
no,
over
no,
your
please
words here, but
continue. Do you want to take a break
all right,
and
here's a,
clear your throat?
no, I'm good. This is just how I, just speak and
Okay, that's
pause
all
when I
right.
need to. But the point is that, as an analogy, let's go back to high school gym class or high school PE class. Let's imagine you're out there on the soccer pitch at 8:30 on a frosty winter morning, and your gym teacher says one of the following two things to you. You either hear the gym teacher say, "Go out there and give me 12 laps around the field," or "Go out there and start running until I tell you to stop." And my question that I always ask to my audiences is, which one of those would you rather hear? Which is the lesser of these two evils? What would you say, Rose? What's the lesser evil of
I
those two
think,
statements?
I don't know. I think the second one, because he might tell me to stop after the first lap.
Oh, that's a good gambler's take there. I think most people are going to go with the safer route, which is to say that the 12 laps, because yes, maybe the gym teacher will say after one lap, but maybe the gym teacher will do it after 100 laps, or will go in and check email and not come back. So the finite is what most people are going to gravitate towards. So 12 laps, I can handle that. I can do it. I can muster the energy and get through it. And what I'm saying in an analogy like that is that people need to work on the known, the finite, something they can hold on to. So if I tell you that I will get back to you within the end of the day or within 3 hours, I am now able to basically push you aside with respect while I focus on this other key piece of work so that when the time is right for me to work with you, I can give you my undivided attention. I have taken inventory of the number of these kinds of calls I can handle in a day. I've taken inventory of how many emails and other messages I can expect in a regular day. This is the kind of stuff that people forget to do because email does not come out the same way that if 30 years ago the mail delivery person in your office dropped a pile of letters on your desk, you would know pretty much what your inventory of mail for the day was. But the ad hoc nature of messaging just takes us completely by surprise. So, what I'm saying to sum all this up is that when people can use this 20% of their time, there's other things you can do in that time, but part of that 20% to take stock and say, yeah, I get about 20 emails every day or 50 emails a day. Okay, how long should 50 emails take me to do? What I'm doing here is budgeting my email time the same way I'd budget part of my take home pay to pay the rent or the mortgage. So I need to spend 2 hours a day just dealing with email. Is that appropriate? Is that too much? Is that too little? If it's appropriate, okay. Now I got to schedule that into my calendar technology as a repeating daily recurring activity, 2 hours a day just on email. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it all in a 2 hour block, but it means that I'm budgeting my time proactively so that I have the power to say no to other tasks and requests because the calendar is already partially filled up. Now, as a small business owner, no is the hardest word in the English language to pronounce because it means you're pushing somebody away and rejecting their dignity. But I always say that the two letters in NO also find their way into the word negotiate, and everything could be negotiated. So I can say to you, Rose, how about tomorrow at 2? Let's meet and talk then for 40 minutes. I've got some time. I can always negotiate these things and retain a greater degree of power over my time, my energy, and my productivity. And my last point on this is that by doing so, I'm giving you my undivided attention for a fixed amount of time. I am setting these things up as real components. And ultimately, most customers are going to say, this is excellent customer service. I'm being taken care of. They don't feel like they're being pushed aside. They feel like they're being proactively looked after. And that's the art, I think, of using technology, your calendar, your email, the things we have in front of us. But it all comes down to a person to person relationship. And you have the power to take that and make it something that works for you.
Yeah, I am a great believer in, I guess, structure. I love structure. I love, I don't necessarily use the 80-20 rule, but yeah, I do like have slot time for emails and I slot time for, Facebook messages and I really so dislike the fact that, if you don't answer a Facebook message in Messenger straight away, then, they penalize you and say that you're not, getting back to your customers and you get a red cross against your name basically on your business page. But I guess Facebook is a technology all unto itself, and I don't really want to go there and poo-poo too much about it because it brings in my business. So yeah.
Yeah, they have a business model, absolutely. However, and I mean, even if they do it without saying anything negative about them, if they have that kind of signaling system, they're doing it because they want you to be more active and to bring in more of your clients there. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, your or any business owner's relationship with their customers is a personal thing. And so, again, people, especially in this age where there is so much fake news and there is so much speed of expectation, that the speed of turnaround is bewildering. And this is not a generational thing. You can't just simply say it's people who are too old for this. We're dealing with being, human beings that have spent hundreds of thousands of years developing the brains and minds into a way that we're now dealing with technology that is basically less than 25 years old. We have to learn to evolve into that. So yes, other platforms, including Facebook and others, may want you to work at a higher speed, but that's like the ads on television wanting you to buy everything that they show. We have to have the discretion to choose what's going to work for us. And to your other point, that some people like to be structured, like to have a structured day, but others might feel not so much, they want a freer approach to their day, which is great. But I always say, if you want to be spontaneous in life, you really should plan to be spontaneous because that's the best way to have the time, the energy, and the money to do the kind of things you want to do. And that's kind of a joke in a way. But the point is, if you want to have that freedom, You have to structure your day, your week, your month to allow for that freedom and to allow for that spontaneity and the money and or the time that you need to make that happen correctly. So it's a personal thing, and that is another key point: is we should not all have to fit into what I call the Outlook grid. I mean, this is not a bash on Microsoft per se, but most people use Microsoft Outlook Calendar. Pretty much every electronic calendar out there does everything in blocks of an hour. So that becomes
Mm.
the default expectation. And I'm saying, well, why do you need to do everything in a block of an hour? Maybe a 20-minute meeting is better, But we're brought into that mindset by the tools that have been structured in a way that maybe they reflect traditional day planners and how they were. But I would much rather have a fast and efficient 20-minute virtual meeting with people that I don't have to travel to, even in the regular normal where we would go to visit in a room somewhere, if that gets the job done. Or maybe not a meeting at all, but just simply having a nice collaborative conversation on a Slack Teams channel that doesn't have a formalized start and end, but just keeps on going as a conversation. There are many great ways to capitalize on the natural human ability to connect and to understand each other in a much more human way. And that's, I think, the kind of thing that I like to teach. But you don't have to have a teacher for this. If you do this 80-20 thing, it gives you the chance to take a little bit of time to reflect and to think. Take a walk. If you have a dog, walk the dog. If you don't have a dog, just take a walk and just look up at the sky and let your brain do what it does best, which is to unfold itself once it is not overwhelmed by distractions in front of its eyes. It's like a bath sponge. You take a bath sponge and you compress it in your fist, it becomes a tiny little thing. Go and take a walk, do something that you enjoy, even in the middle of the day, even when you could be serving a customer. And what I'm saying is the benefits that come from letting your brain re expand. Think about nothing. Let it work out what it wants to work out. Will give you some new inspiration that is going to serve your customers better. Now, I didn't make this stuff up. There's lots of books on this concept out there for small business owners. My favorite one, if I may say so, is by Michael Gerber. It's called The E Myth Revisited. Have you ever heard of that book?
No, I haven't, but yeah, it's thank you for pointing that one out. It'll be great for the our audience to read and and get some knowledge from.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line with the book is it's about not spending of your time working, not spending all of your time working in your business, but spending some time working on your
On your
business. It's an
business, yeah,
extension of this 80-20 thing, right?
yeah.
But that's the thing is, when you are your own boss, that means that you've got, you set your own rules and you have to work for that boss, and it's a very difficult thing to place yourself into, and you can never really fully separate yourself from your business or your customers mentally, and maybe in your soul as well. You want to be doing this stuff, but all I'm saying is allowing some time to pause, allowing some time to strategize and to network and to influence your people within that 20% means the quality and the value of the work you do in that 80% is far more,
Mm.
just far more valuable. It's going to do the kind of things that you want your business to do.
Yep. So explain to me what the new era of career management is and disruptive technology.
Well, I think, because not everybody wants to get in to become their own business and their own boss. Some people want to just have a regular career. There's never been a better time to be working, and there's never been a better time to be thrown out of work, as weird as that sounds. There is so much mobility. There is so much capacity for people to find other things that are more suitable to their mindset and their passions, or just simply to find another job than there was 20, 30 years ago when you just had the adverts in the back of the paper, or sort of going down to a job office somewhere. The future of work, people are saying that by 2027 or so, we can expect in major economies like the US and Australia and then in the UK and so forth, that about 50% of workers will be freelancers. The gig economy is growing. Now, as a small business owner, you may consider yourself to be a freelancer of sorts anyway, because you're working for different customers and doing things. You're being agile. You're being always aware of what's needed, and you're upping your skills to make sure you're always there. But more and more, especially with the younger generations joining the workforce, there'll be more people who are, again, much more socially and technologically aware of what they can do with themselves, their time, and their connections online. So, there's a lot you can do. Career management, once again, stems from proactive and intelligent networking. I always tell people that if you're not on LinkedIn right now, there's not a lot of platforms that I want to plug. LinkedIn is always looked upon as this behemoth. Everybody put their profile up a few years ago. Nothing ever came of it. They don't do anything with it. And it's like buying a car and forgetting to drive it. I mean, you stick it in the
Mm.
driveway and you don't do anything with it. But this is one tip I'd love to share with your listeners, and it's the following: get onto LinkedIn. Update your profile, put a picture there, unless you have security concerns, which I respect. But otherwise, get your picture up there so that people can see who you are. Doesn't matter what you look like. They just want to know who they're dealing with. But my tip is to go on there. Okay, I've got two tips. Number one is to only accept people into LinkedIn who you do know and trust. I mean, everyone's going to come at you and say, "Can I join?" because they want to have a bigger and bigger electronic Rolodex. No, only accept people who you know and trust and you would want to be associated with. Because if you say yes to somebody who turns out to be some sort of crazy killer or whatever, you're kind of associated with them now. So the pedigree of your LinkedIn collection must be someone that you would recognize on the street and would confidently recommend to one of your customers. Do you know a good accountant? Do you know a good lawyer? Do you know a good repair person? But my point is, go on there once a day. And the notifications on LinkedIn will tell you who's celebrating a 5-year anniversary at their job today, who started a new job, who posted a new post. Just go on there and say congratulations to those people, because what you're doing is you are re-warming in their minds and hearts their memory of you. Because one of the saddest things about spending years and years working in your business or on your job is the number of people you meet and who then disappear into the mists of time. You just don't have time to keep up with them all. We can't go to all the social events we'd like to, but you can just jump onto LinkedIn and in 30 seconds say, "Hey, congratulations, 5 years already. Wow, great job." You're not saying, "Oh, by the way, please buy my product." You're just simply saying, "Hi, Steve here. Good stuff. Nice to see you again." That's it. And this keeps these people's memory of you alive for years and years and years. And that is your single greatest safety net. It might not be that individual who gets you your next job or your next customer, but it might be. And those are the people, that's what makes work happen. I tell people when I haven't been doing speaking for a year now, but when I do my stand up speaking, I tell people that I've been looking for work for 25 years. Problem is, I keep finding it because the work is out there if you've got the network of people and you groom it, you feed it, and the work comes. You're selling services like I do, or a product. If you have a store, a shop where you're selling physical goods, now you've got the whole world who can buy from you. And these things are very possible, but it comes down once again to not stocking the shelves of your store or your professional service. It's taking that 20% to leverage your network, to grow it and groom it and make it work for you. And that is the payoff that I think is so wonderful about this.
Yeah. So, okay, we have touched on career management, disruptive technology, uh, the future of work post-COVID. I think that's a given that it's going to be more hybrid than it's going to be in person in future. There'll be a little bit of both. But what's cyber hygiene practices for security? I do believe that is going to be a big industry coming up. Because we are more online now, it is so important to keep everything super, super, super secure.
Yeah, and as a side note, just before getting into that, I read an article just yesterday saying that the industry, the global cybersecurity industry, needs 3.1 million more people to join it. It needs an 89% increase in its population to manage the cybersecurity of every business and every undertaking out there, because it is a vastly unknown or underknown technology or process. And also, it changes so quickly that we really need people who can keep up to speed on this. But one of the fundamental rules, and this is also crucial for every small business owner as well, is that the key Achilles heel, the number one weakness in all of cybersecurity is people, human beings.
Mm.
Imagine you check your email inbox and top of the list is a new thing saying new COVID procedures for small business owners, from the Ministry of Health. Click and download this right away. And it's not actually from the ministry. It is a phishing email,
Yeah.
PHISHING, with malware. This is how bad guys get into your business. And if your business is connected somehow to your clients, how to get into your clients' businesses. by tunneling in through you, the weak link, who are being taken by surprise. That very moment is, oh, that's important. I must read that. And once again, the candid reactionary piece of the brain takes over rather than the proactive piece that I'm trying to generate with people. So yes, absolutely. Cyber hygiene isn't just simply about the tedious act of password changing. It's about being fully aware that pretty much every single message you receive, you got to think twice about. Even if it looks like it's
Mm.
coming from me, and I want to say, hey, Rose, thank you very much for inviting me on your podcast. Here's just a little card of thanks. Download, password is 1234. Well, no, they're going to raise your eyebrow and say, is this really from Steve? And the same thing if you get one of those scam messages on your phone that says your bank account has been frozen or the tax
Oh,
people are
yes,
coming
I've had a
after
few of
you.
those.
Yeah, and you may be you may be cool enough now to not pay attention to those. But if you have older parents, for example, who come from a much more trusting generation, or younger people who again just don't want to stop and think, they just go ahead and do these things. It's not age. There's no age group here that is
No.
more or less likely. But the point is, they'll grab you in fear, and you click on this thing. It may be a fun thing, saying, "Hey, fantastic new TikTok video. Check this out." And this again becomes is malware that gets into your system, and just like COVID gets into other people's systems just through the organic transmission, is exactly the same. So cyber hygiene is a skill. It is one of the key skills that people need to keep under their belt. And it does mean routine changing of passwords, and things like LastPass should be de rigueur for any organization. Sticky password, LastPass, any of these that take care of
Mm.
password management for you. These are the skills, along with things like critical thinking and empathy, which are going to distinguish people, the quality of their service and the quality of their relationships with their customers, especially as artificial intelligence it keeps creeping up from behind and takes away some of those jobs that we used to hold. So there's a lot we can do. It's a very optimistic time to be in business right now. There's so many resources available, but yes, you need to take some time away from the hamster wheel to take them in, check with your network, get help where you need, and use these as your tools going forwards.
Yeah, I agree. I've received, I don't know, some of my one of my business emails has been on sold, and I just keep getting all this spam. And I know that because my cybersecurity is, pretty tight, so it won't show any of the graphics, and I don't it won't allow me to click on any of the links. But it's just the point that I really hate it when you've signed up for something um, in a legitimate way, and then they on-sell your information, and that really, really annoys me. Making profit off something that, to me, I was, so keen on getting. Was it a download or a free freemium or whatever, and what gives them the right? But they do, and it's annoying, and they on-sell it to unscrupulous people, and there's not a lot you can do about it. And my spam thing, other than not showing the pictures, I just have to keep blocking the address because it keeps sending it from a different address every time. So
Yes, absolutely. You can't do anything about it because it is as a trade. There are millions of people around the world who are part of this business, and every time you give your email address away, that becomes basically currency for them to use.
mm,
And if you make the mistake of sort of hitting unsubscribe or write them a letter saying don't do this again, all you're doing is showing them that you have a live active email address, and it just doubles or quadruples in value as they sell it in the marketplace.
that's correct.
um, it is really difficult. I mean, you may want, again, business owners may want to think about, for example, using forms on their websites. Contact us through the form rather than posting your email address. I mean, I can give my email address to my customers who I trust. I mean, I can't say that that's a 100% ironclad guarantee, but if I post my email address and or phone number on my company website, well, anybody and everybody can see it. No matter who they are, they can find it. So I would much rather, if you visit my website, there's a contact us form there, and maybe you have a reCAPTCHA or something on there to make sure it's a real human being who's going through this. Once we establish a relationship, then I will give you my password. And actually, I do change password. I'm sorry, my email address. And I do actually change my actual email address every couple of years as well, because if I notice a lot of spam being built up in there, and I'll just tell my
Okay.
nearest and dearest ones, it used to be, contact at mycompany.com. Now it's alert at mycompany.com. It's a cat and mouse game basically, but the more time you spend weeding through this stuff is time could be spent either on your business or equally importantly on relaxing and enjoying the benefits of your business.
Absolutely. Yes. Anyway, we've run out of time, Steve, but I do thank you for your input today. It was very enlightening, and I'm sure people will get a lot of benefit out of it. Where can people reach you, Steve, if they want to contact you?
Well, thank you very much for asking that. My website is my name, so it's just steveprentice.com, and that's Prentice. I like to think it's like the word PR and entice. I should have gone into public relations. So it's steveprentice.com. You can see what I do there. And of course, my services go around the world. And indeed, I have a contact us form there. Drop me a line. And, I appreciate the opportunity of saying that.
Oh, well done. And I notice you're on Twitter, so you can find him at Steve Prentice, and you can
Actually,
also
yeah, it's unfortunately it's Stephen Prentice. I
Stephen
had to
Prentice,
settle.
beg your pardon.
Yeah,
Yes, I didn't read that correctly. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I think
And
Steve.
so have you're very good at you're very eloquent, I say. Do you have a podcast?
Oh, yes, indeed. My podcast is called Cool Time Life. And that's because my first book was called Cool Time, which was what we spoke about at the beginning, which is time management by staying mentally cool. So, Cool Time Life, I think it's like one word. It's everywhere. It's on iTunes and everywhere else.
Beautiful. And tell me a bit about your book.
Well, Cool Time, well, the first edition came out in 2005, the second one in 2015, and once again, it expands upon what we were chatting about. How to structure your day, how to manage your time, again based on influence as much as planning. So it's the physiological side as well as the mechanical side of project management and planning. Those when you mix those things two together, you get this magic that really gives you control over your day. And yeah, I'm very happy with the results. I mean. The feedback that we got, it was published by John Wiley and Sons, and the feedback we got was from all around the world. We had them in Polish, we had it in Korean, all kinds of languages, and it was a great stamp. It didn't make me like a zillion dollars, but it made a great impression that people tried this out and it worked, and that you couldn't get any better endorsement than that.
Absolutely not. That's wonderful. Yeah, I co-authored a book, and we had our launch on the 1st of December, and we're number one international in 7 countries. So I was really chuffed with that. So that was pretty good news.
Absolutely, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you so much again for your time, and I would love to have you on again sometime soon. So I will put you in a little posse where I keep all my favorites, and yeah, and we'll chat again soon. Thanks so much, Steve.
Thank you, Rose. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care.
You too.